Yo, if you missed my last two videos, A, check them out, but more importantly, B, I was lucky enough to play some of the final shape early. Thank you to Bungie for the opportunity. Today, we're going to be talking about Prismatic, something I was really eager to get my hands on. I'm going to give a general rundown on what Prismatic is and how it works, go over the newer fragments that weren't listed in the original Prismatic Deep Dive TWID, give sample Prismatic builds for each class, and give thoughts on Prismatic in general. Timestamps are right here if you want to jump around, otherwise, let's get to it. Starting with a refresher on what Prismatic is and how it works. Prismatic is the new subclass we're getting in the final shape. It is literally a hybrid of pre-picked light and dark class options. More specifically, it's kind of a greatest hits of each subclass. Supers, abilities, aspects, as well as both new and modified fragments from other 3.0 subclasses, both light and dark, all thrown together under one umbrella. Don't be confused, it's not a complete buffet, meaning if you're a warlock, you can't pick literally any option across your entire light or dark kit. For example, Warlock Prismatic does not have access to Ice Flare Bolts, Frost Pulse, or Glacial Harvest from the Stasis kit, but it does have access to Bleak Watcher turrets. This way, the OG subclass builds still do things that only they can do. I mean, if Prismatic had everything, all the OG subclasses would become worthless, so it does make sense in that regard. With Prismatic, you now have the option to come up with bizarro mix and match combos that you couldn't put together before, which is going to be awesome for the mad scientist build crafting weirdos out there, God love them. The biggest unique thing that Prismatic Guardians get is the ability to activate Transcendence, which at the event we started calling Diet Super. You can go ahead and thank Dado for that one. Activate Transcendence and a few things happen. Your grenade option is replaced with a new unique grenade capable of dealing both light and dark damage. Dealing melee damage when transcendent greatly ups your grenade energy regen factor and vice versa. Defeating targets while transcendent will extend the duration. For some reason it isn't mentioned here in the description when you hover over transcendence, but when transcendent you also gain increased ability regen, increased weapon damage, and damage resistance. For whatever reason you only get that extra info when you hover over certain prismatic fragments? Questions for another day. Testing incoming DR is something I didn't really have time to do, but looking through some of my general footage I did take note of shooting a Grim, aka Flying Bat Dread, in the face for 5,078 damage, and then moments later going Transcendent and shooting another Grim for 5,332 damage. That would be a 5% increase in damage output, and that sounds about right in my head. Again, this doesn't replace your super meter, by the way. It's an extra ability spam thing that only the Prismatic subclass can do. As you can imagine, Transcendence is pretty fun and strong for a random thing you can do in addition to having a super. You smash through ad-rich environments like crazy, and because you can extend the timer via defeating enemies, you can play a fun mini game in your head of I must make this last as long as possible. When building up your Transcendence, your meter is basically split into two bars. You got a light bar and a dark bar that each progress towards each other, meeting in the middle when full. Getting kills with light energy weapons or abilities, i.e. Solar Arc or Void, fills the light bar, and getting kills with dark energy weapons or abilities, i.e. Stasis and Strand, will fill the dark bar. Kinetic weapons will charge both bars at once, which is one of the reasons I really enjoyed the Kvastov exotic auto rifle. It is a strong kinetic ad shredding machine that pairs great with the Facet of Grace fragment. Defeating targets with kinetic weapons grant bonus Transcendence energy. Other kinetic weapons I've been thinking about that'll likely pair really well with Prismatic: Traveler's Chosen. Sidearms are getting a nice buff in the final shape, and Traveler's also is an ability generating weapon by design. Necrochasm, I already really enjoy it, but it's also getting the buff in the final shape and great at crowd control. And Quicksilver Storm. Remember, you can keep it kinetic by pulling it from collections and then not applying the exotic catalyst. Auto rifles also getting the buff in the final shape, and Quicksilver Storm hits really hard in alt fire mode. There's definitely way more than those three, but again, those just came to mind for me right away. While Transcendent, your grenade option gets replaced with a new unique grenade. I'm sure you've seen each in the previews, but why don't we quickly break down each one and I'll give you my early hands-on impressions of each. Hunters get Hailfire Spike. It resembles the Void Spike Grenade, aka it sticks to a wall wherever you throw it. First, it spews out stasis energy, slowing enemies, then it spews out solar energy, scorching enemies. I'm gonna be completely honest, out of all three unique prismatic nade options, I found the Hunters was the trickiest to use well in the heat of the moment. Because it functions like a Void Spike Grenade, it means you have to actually aim it in order to get good use out of it. It's entirely possible, we'll find out later with more testing, that it's actually cracked in one way or another, but right out the gate, great, it wasn't as forehead easy as the Warlock or Titan grenade. Messing up the placement of the grenade felt kinda awful, and while yeah, literally a skill issue, still feels bad. Again, this feedback is super early and rough. I'm sure I'll warm up to it in time. Warlocks get Freezing Singularity, a grenade that first deploys a stasis slow field, then it goes void and implodes, suppressing enemies and dealing good damage. This was a bit easier to use, felt really solid and great on crowds, not much to it. Titans get Electrified Snare, and that one is really fun. You basically throw a powered up shackle grenade. It unleashes a suspending burst, stringing up targets. Suspended targets take heavy damage over time and chain jolting lightning to any nearby enemies. Comparing the unique prismatic grenades alone, Electrified Snare was probably my favorite for PvE. Combining the immediately helpful suspend factor with DOT and free jolt is just so dummy easy to use, it was great. On top of that, Prismatic Titan has access to Thunderclap, which by the way, getting buffed in the final shape, and that is the version of it we got to play with. The strategy there was step 1, throw your dummy easy prismatic nade to suspend and jolt enemies, then laugh as step 2, you charge up your electric falcon punch that they're literally unable to get away from. Because one ability kill feeds into the regen of another and extends the duration of Transcendence, this was such a satisfying and easy 1-2 punch combo of keeping your meter up for a while and blasting through crowds with ease. Now, I'm not saying that's going to end up being the best strat in the whole kit. In fact, it assuredly will not be. Titan has a lot of good options, and I'm positive Frenzied Blade may end up being top dog the melee options, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Point of the story is Titan Prismatic Grenade is really easy to use and damned fun. Also worth mentioning, by the way, that the Titan is the only prismatic class that gets access to the base Shackle Grenade option. Hunters get Grapple, and Warlocks get Threadling, which makes sense. But with that in mind, it means that even in base form before activating Transcendence, Titans can still perform the Shackle into Thunderclap 1-2 combo, which again, not the best thing on the table, but hilarious to do in general. Alrighty, let's talk about Prismatic Fragments real quick. Bungie revealed 12 in their April dev article. I can't remember if the others have been released anywhere else since then, but I'd really be amazed if by the time this video came out, the others won't be known already, because the embargo ended yesterday, and I was maybe one of a dozen creators there. Either way, here's the unreleased fragments in no order. Facet of Sacrifice. While you have an Arc, Solar, or Void buff, ability Final Blows grant bonus Darkness Transcendence energy. Facet of Devotion. Defeating targets afflicted with stasis or strand debuffs grant bonus light transcendence energy. Facet of Honor. Collecting an elemental pickup or destroying a tangle grants transcendence energy of the same type. Facet of Courage. Your Arc, Solar, and Void abilities deal increased damage to targets afflicted with darkness debuffs. Facet of Awakening. Rapidly defeating targets with light or darkness damage or super final blows generates an elemental pickup of the matching damage type. Facet of Command. Freezing or suppressing a target reloads your equipped weapons and increases weapon stability, aim assist, and AE. Defeating frozen or suppressed targets creates a stasis shard or void breach. Facet of Blessing. Melee final blows start health regeneration, while Transcendent melee final blows start health regeneration for you and nearby allies. Facet of Mending. Grenade final blows cure you. Transcendence grenade final blows increase the strength of that effect. Facet of Solitude. Landing rapid precision hits emit a severing blast from the target, while Transcendent, the severing blast is bigger. Looking at all the options on the table between available abilities, supers, aspects, fragments, the new exotic class armor, it's enough to make your damn head spin. Let me walk you through a sample prismatic build I've put together real quick. Is it God tier broken build solo the witness? Probably not, but it'll maybe give you a little bit more confidence in approaching the tangled web of prismatic. I'm gonna make a hunter build with the purpose of spamming gunpowder gamble in PvE for no reason other than I think it's fun. For aspects, I'm therefore obviously gonna take gunpowder gamble, and I'll leave aspect 2 open for now. Looking at fragments, why don't we find some synergy? Facet of Courage could be fun because it's solar. Our gunpowder gamble could hit even harder if enemies are afflicted with a darkness debuff. Facet of Solitude could help us get that taken care of. Landing rapid headshots amidst a severing blast. So now, after a severing blast goes out, those hit with that darkness debuff will then take more damage from gunpowder gamble. Nice. Facet of Balance will give us more grenade energy if we rapidly defeat targets with darkness damage. I'm gonna put that on and keep in mind later when picking weapons that we need some darkness damage. Still can't decide on a second aspect, so I'll continue leaving that on the back burner and think about exotic armor. I want ability spam for more gunpowder gamble, and with that in mind, I'll go with hunter exotic class armor with Spirit of the Inmost Light. Using one ability empowers the other two abilities, granting improved regen. And in order to get more mileage out of that, I could pair that with Spirit of the Coyote, TLDR. 2 dodge charges, and every time I use a hunter dodge, Inmost Light speeds up the regen of melee and grenade. Now that I know I'm gonna be doing a little dodge spamming too, I think I might go with Winter's Shroud for my second aspect. I can slow nearby enemies, which both improves my dodge cooldown and also ties back into Facet of Courage. A Withering Blade would also be an easy way to apply a darkness debuff at range, so I'm gonna go with that too, why not? We got 2 fragments left to pick. Facet of Mending will let me get cured by grenade final blows, and Gunpowder Gamble takes place of your grenade, so why not? I'll also take Facet of Ruin because it gives me more mobility for dodging and increases the AoE on solar ignitions, aka my Gunpowder Gamble. For weapons, I'm gonna go with Sunshot and Scatter Signal. Sunshot, yeah, is getting adjusted in the final shape, it'll still be good. Sunshot builds up my Gunpowder Gamble charge, and Scatter Signal will let me activate Facet of Balance if I need more emergency nade energy. All in all, everything in the table kind of feeds into everything else in one way or another. Just start with any idea of what you want to do and then slowly build around it with options that have some kind of synergy. And if you don't like your build, just keep effing around with it until you find something that works for you. I'm gonna have a link to a spreadsheet I made in the pinned comment that has every prismatic option listed out, all abilities, all aspects, all fragments, and 1 sample build each for Titan, Warlock, and Hunter. Again, because I know some people are going to try to virtually sword fight me out here, these are just sample builds to help you get your mental wheels turning a little bit. There's so much left in the final shape that we don't know about. I'll make more fun builds the more we know about the game. These are all to just help you get the ball rolling. And while you check that out, some final thoughts on my experience with Prismatic. Fucking wild and extremely fun. It is definitely going to take some getting used to. Just seeing the non-matching colors in my HUD was enough to trip me up mentally, but I'm sure it'll feel more natural over time. Players who aren't super comfortable with build crafting may be a bit more intimidated with Prismatic from the get-go, but they'll probably still have fun with the pure ability spam wackiness of activating Transcendence, so there's a little something for everybody. Again, if you want to get a better handle on Prismatic right away, I recommend a great kinetic ad clear weapon and the Facet of Grace. That is going to be a really good starting point, and then you can get more adventurous from there. Between now and the final shape, I'm going to be spending a lot of time going over all the aspect and fragment combinations on the table and trying to dream up wilder builds for Warlock, Hunter, and Titan. Easier said than done because, damn, a ton of possibilities for both PvE and PvP. But if you have any that immediately come to mind, let me know down in the comment section. I'd love to know what kind of wacky brainstorm crap you're dreaming up. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you very much for watching. Peace!